Welcome to part 4 of our book formatting with Affinity tutorial series. And today we are going to cover one of the most important features, the text styles. We will discuss paragraph styles, character styles, and headings. You need to understand and learn this so that you can professionally format your book, create table of contents, and save hours of your life. In the previous part, we have moved our manuscript from Word into Affinity and fixed the text flow, adjusted the main font, and also worked on some paragraph settings. In this part, we are going to discuss the text styles and the headings. So, before we start, I want to say that at this point we can have two cases. In the first case, we would define the heading styles in Word before moving them to Affinity. So in our case, in Word, we didn't say that this paragraph is heading 1. We didn't change that, it was still normal, and we copied as is to Affinity. And you can see that all these chapters are also just normal. Another option would be if we would define that all these chapters are heading 1s. So we will discuss both two cases. Let's start with the first one. Let's find our first heading. Okay, it's this paragraph, part 1, A Voyage to Lilliput, and we need to stylize it or design it. So I want this text part 1, A Voyage to Lilliput, to be placed on the right side page alone, somewhere in the middle, and then the chapter 1 starts on the next page. Before we move on, we need to discuss the text styles. In the right side, you have text styles panel. If you don't see this, go to Window, Text, and make sure that you have text style selected. So for example, if it wasn't here, go to text styles, it will appear here. And we see here the several icons on the left side of these titles. This icon means that this is a paragraph style. All these are paragraph styles, and below that with the letter A, these are character styles. So the paragraph style is a set of rules or settings that control the appearance of the whole paragraph, and the character style is applied only to a single character or word inside the paragraph. So for example, if this is our bullet paragraph, you see everything changes. The whole paragraph changes to bullet or to footnote text. But we can select just some words in this paragraph and say that we want to emphasize it. You see, only these 3 words changed. Or we want to make it strong, so it's bold now, or strong emphasize, it's bold and italics. And you see the base style. So the base style is a parent style, and all other styles inherit the settings of the base style. We can enable that, or we can disable that, or the child styles may not inherit all the settings from base style, but some of them. So we will discuss that. We need to say that this style, Crimson Pro 11 points with 15 points leading, so the main style is our base style. To do so, place the cursor anywhere inside the paragraph, right click on base and click on update. It means that we update the base style to match the style of this paragraph here. Okay, great. Now our base style looks like this. We can check it. Go to edit base. So here you see the font, The family font is Crimson Pro, font size is 11 points, and spacing is just what we have set. We can check that, click on bullet, and you see now that the bullet actually works, and the style, the font and the leading, everything comes from the base. Let's check with numbered. It also works. We can also check heading. You see that the font here is Crimson Pro, but the font size is 20 because the heading style has its own defined font size that overrides the base style. In other words, this style has specifically set font size, which is not inherited from the base. So our part 1 should be heading 1. But as I said, I want this part 1, the heading 1, to be on the right side page alone with nothing else, and the chapter starts on the next page. For this, we should select the whole paragraph and stylize it, design it. In the paragraph pane, the first thing we do, we remove first line indentation. It's 0. Yes, it should be centered. Align to baseline grid, OK. And you see the flow options, settings, and start anywhere. It means it just starts anywhere in the page. But we want to start on the next right page. So click here and say on next odd page. Odd page is always the right page. Okay, it starts on the odd page. And now I want this to be somewhere in the middle. I need to set space before paragraph. Okay, here. Let's say 16 points, but it doesn't work. Do you see the settings? Use space before only between paragraphs. So the space before setting works only before or between paragraphs, but there is no paragraph before this. It just starts on the top of the text frame. So we need to change it to always. And now it always has 16 points above it, and it doesn't care if there is any paragraph above it or no. We can set it to 90 or whatever else, 120, great. And this chapter, this should be our heading 2. Yeah, heading 2. And let's move this to this page now so that it doesn't disturb. Go to paragraph and just move it to the next page. It starts on the next page. Great. Okay, let's stay here for a while. We need to work with heading 1. I always recommend deleting the dots at the end of the heading. Again, select the whole paragraph. Now let's work on the font size. Let's say it's 22, and I don't want it to be bold. For the headings, I prefer semi-bold. Great. And here, let's go further. Disable auto hyphenation. We don't want any hyphenation in headings. Okay, the rest is fine. Now, let's check how it looks. We can even go lower, maybe something like that. And okay, this is the style of our heading 1. Place a cursor anywhere in this paragraph, go to heading, right click on it, and you see update heading. Now our heading looks like this, and we should apply this heading to all other heading 1s. For that, we can manually search the whole book, all 300 pages, or we can go to find and replace and find the word part. Okay, you see. In the table of contents, we can check that we have part 1, part 2, 3, and 4. So let's find it. Part 1 is here. Part 2 is here. Just place a cursor anywhere on this paragraph and click on heading 1. Great. Now it moved and it's here. Don't mind about this for now. And we have part 3. Where is part 3? Here it is. Okay, part 3, heading 1. Let's go. Part 4 should be heading 1. Okay, you can see that the leading is too tight here. And to change that, we need to change the baseline just for this heading 1. So the main font is 22 and the leading could be 25. But you see that it only jumps to the next baseline. So it seems like it's bind to this baseline. To prevent that behavior, deselect align to baseline grid. And now you see that this heading doesn't follow the rule to be placed exactly on the baseline. And we can set whatever leading we want. 22 with 24, I guess, is even better. And you see that part 4, we have changed this, only this heading. And we also have part 3 with also such long text, but it didn't change, right? And we don't want to do this manually for all headings. We don't want to change the leading manually. Just imagine that we have a lot of parts or a lot of chapters, like 50 chapters or something. Exactly for this reason, we have this text style. So let's go back to part 4. Place a cursor on this paragraph. And here you have this icon. It says update this heading 1 and make it look like this. We can update this. Okay. And let's go to check our heading 3. Here, you see, it was also updated. Nice. We don't have to do it manually. And part 2 has also been updated. You can update it like this, or you can update it in the text styles panel. Right click on heading and update. It also works. And it would be also very nice to place part and the number above the title, above the name of the heading, somewhere here with some different font. Let's do that. Okay, all this paragraph is heading 1. And we cannot have several paragraph styles in single paragraph. In this case, we need to use character styles. Here, if I place enter, I have a new paragraph here, and this would be another paragraph. This is heading 1, and this is another heading 1. That's why it jumped to the next page. I don't want that. I want to break the line here, but without creating a new paragraph. For that, I must hold Shift and press Enter. This makes just a line break. It's not a paragraph break. It's just a line break inside the paragraph. It is still one single paragraph here, but with a line break here. Great. Let's remove this dot here. Part 1 I want to be smaller, like 16 points. Also I want it to be regular, like that. And I also don't want it to be all capitals. For that, you can retype this like this. Or another option is to select everything, go to text, capitalization, and choose title case. But in this case, only the first letters of the main words are capitalized. But in this case, we have to capitalize the second letter in the number. And also, I want this to stay a little bit higher. For that, I can of course make another line break. Yes, but we are professionals, we don't do that. You can select it. And you see this baseline. It means that we can change the baseline only for these selected characters. So let's change it. You see, it's going up. Or we can, for example, change the baseline of U here. We can move it up or we can move it down. So I want this to be 15 points higher. Okay, great. And how do I do this for other heading ones? So for example, here. For that, I need to create a new character style specifically for this design. Okay, remember, these whole things are still heading 1. It is still one single paragraph, but we need to change only some part of this paragraph. Okay, select this, go to styles, and create a new character style. Let's call it heading 1 cap. So this is like a cap of the heading 1. Okay, and we have just created a new character style that will look like this. Let's check it. So again, we delete this dot, insert a line break, this we do manually, and select the characters that we want to change and click on heading 1 cap. Great, it worked. And we only want to change 3 letters to uncapitalize this. We do the same thing for other parts. And here I want to show you one trick. So we can do this and we can make a shortcut for this action when we set it heading 1. So go to heading 1, go to edit heading 1, and here we have a shortcut. So let's define it. I set it as command 0. You see if it's a yellow mark here, attention. So it means that this command with command 0, it's already taken. So we need to choose something different. Let's choose command 9. It says it's pixel size. So it has already been taken. Let's check command shift 9. Great. This command shift 9 is free. In Windows, you can also change it to control shift 9 or control alt 9, whatever works for you. Okay. And now I select this and just hold command and shift and press 9. So it's super fast. Shortcuts help us to speed up the process because pointing the cursor from one side of the screen to the next can take a lot of time if we sum up a lot of actions that should be repeated. So now let's stylize chapter. So this is heading 2. It should be semi-bold. 14 point is fine. remove first line indent. It can be aligned to baseline. Okay. It should be centered. So I want this not stick to the top of the text frame, but just start somewhere below it. So 30 point above it. You see, it doesn't work. Do you remember what should we do? We should change use space before to always. And this should be 60. Okay, something like that. Or it can be other way around, 60 above and 30 below this. Whatever you like, actually, I like something like this. And again, we should delete dot here. And this is our heading 2. We should update heading 2. Okay, great. Now again, we can search the whole book, find chapters, and click heading 1 or heading 2, sorry. But that of course takes a lot of time. Instead, let's find the text that has chapters. In this case, we have found all real chapters, all real headings, and only one just a regular word inside the paragraph. We want to replace all these headings simultaneously with one click. And in this case, we can either delete this so that we have only chapters left, or we should replace one by one. Okay, we have found the heading and we can replace it with paragraph style heading 2. This means that we find the word chapter, and since there is nothing, we actually set the heading style 2 to this word. Okay, replace. You see, our heading 3 is now has now style heading 2. Heading 4, let's click on replace. It's now also has heading 2. But for this one, we don't change this one. And we have this. Okay, just click replace for every word here. Nice. We have changed all chapters to heading 2. It is in this book that we have just a regular word chapter as just a part of the text. If we wouldn't have this word chapter here, we would find only the actual headings and then click on replace all without having to click on every chapter manually separately. Let's check every heading 2. They look beautiful. And now what we need to do is to delete the dots at the end of the heading 2. We can do it manually, of course, clicking every heading and deleting, or we can do it like this. Let's find dots, and it found all the dots in the text. But we can find dot with a style, with a paragraph style heading 2. Okay, it now found the dots which are in heading 2 paragraph style. And we can just replace it with nothing. So heading 2, we should remove this style, so reset format, so that we don't to change it again to heading 2. Here we should have nothing, so we find dots and replace it with nothing. It means we delete it and replace all. Super. That was deleted. Let's find again all headings, all heading 2, and we see there is no dots at the end. Now let's discuss how we change paragraph styles. So for example, we want to change heading 2. We want this to be bigger, like 16 points. And since they are all caps, we can increase tracking here. Tracking is the space between all the letters here. So let's make it 100 per mile, something like this, or maybe better 50, not so far away from each other. And then we can click update paragraph here, or we can update it from here. Update. You see, they were all updated. Tracking, updated, 15. Another option to update the headings is to go inside the settings of the heading. So click on the heading 2 style, go to edit heading. So here we have text style editor, and here we can also change the settings of the paragraph style. So we see that it's based on base. So it means that it gets the font from the base. It's no change, meaning it gets from the base, so the Crimson Pro. And font size is 16, so we have changed it. It's not coming from base, but we can even make it even bigger, 18, and then save. Okay, so they have all changed. Now let's look at the first paragraph in the chapter. Per professional formatting rules, the very first chapter doesn't need to be indented, so we remove that. And we can also stylize this first paragraph to make it more interesting and dynamic. So for example, let's go to drop caps. We can use a drop cap. Drop cap is when the first letter is bigger than the rest of the text. So let's enable it, something like this. I usually prefer the height of 2 lines, so it sits in the 2 line, and we can create a new style for it. Create a new style. So let's call it drop cap, and let's create a shortcut so that it's easier. So it's Ctrl+Shift+8. No, it's taken. Yes. So if you see that this shortcut is already taken with text style drop cap. This is our style, yes, what we are working on, so that's fine. We wouldn't break anything here. Click OK. Now we have to go to every chapter start, chapter 1, chapter 2, click on Ctrl+Shift+8 so that this change. Unfortunately, there is no way to automate this, so we have to do it manually. Change all these paragraphs. Okay, I was just going manually from the top to bottom and realized at some point that our text frame, that our pages has ended here, since we added a lot of empty spaces here and there and moved heading 1 to the next page. Of course, our text is now longer. So when you see something like that, you remember what to do. Just hold Shift and click on that rectangle, and you have created a new pages with new text frames to fit the rest of the text. Great. I have just completed this, and now our chapter start looks like this. Cool, we have just worked with our headings and we stylized them. So let's discuss this. When you select the heading, you see that in the text style, you see it's heading 2. And we can change only this chapter to 22. And in the text style, we see this plus sign. So it means that this paragraph is heading 2 with some local formatting or local editing. Only this chapter was edited, and the next chapter stays the same. Heading 2 with 18 points. This one is heading 2 with 22 points. So whenever you see your heading style with plus sign, it means that it was manually edited. It doesn't look like other headings or other paragraphs with the same style. Okay, in the beginning I said that we have two cases. Let's discuss the second case. We have assigned our heading styles in Word. So part 1 is heading 1, chapter 1 is heading 2. So the part is heading 1 and all chapters are heading 2. And let's copy that as we did before and place it here. So you see now that in the text style we have something different. We have heading 1 with the capital H and heading 1 with small h. This heading 1 is moved or migrated from Word. So when we copied the text from Word to Affinity, all the text also has its own style. So if it was heading 1 or heading 2 in Word, in Affinity it will also copy with its own paragraph style, heading 1 or heading 2. So part 1 is heading 1 and chapters are heading 2. In this case, we should also stylize it just as in the first case. So it should be Crimson Pro, like 22. And it should start on the next auth page. Here. Okay. And the heading should be exactly 25. It doesn't align to baseline grid. Remove the dot. So space before there was 150. And yeah. And the leading was 24. Okay, great. And now if you update this heading 1, let's find other part. So part 1 is the headings that we have changed. And part 2 has also changed. You see here? Now let's work with chapters. This is our chapter 1. Let's make it start on the next page. Start on the next page. Yes, start on the next page. You see this paragraph has changed slightly. That shouldn't look like that. Okay, and this should be 0. So this is Crimson Pro with 16 points. Semi-bold and leading is okay, 18. Space before always it was 30 with 60. Okay, great, we deleted this. So this is our heading 2. Let's update this and let's check other chapters. So that worked here, 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 okay. But if you see that somewhere it didn't work, you have to do that manually. So for example, here this part didn't change, so you can assign again, say that it's heading 1, it will change, and that this is heading 2 with a small h. And you see that this is also didn't change. We changed that all manually one by one. That's because it was copied from Word, and most of the authors, while typing their book, they assign paragraph style to every heading, to every chapter heading. So like heading 1, heading 2. And in that case, we have to work like this. You can change that manually, going one by one and assigning heading 1. Or you can find again all chapters and assign heading 2 with a small letter. Remember about this one. So we start from here, just go replace every single case, and that works exactly as we want. And as we discussed, if we wouldn't have such a case when there is a chapter regular word, you can just click replace all, and this will replace all the headings and assign them heading to style. Great, we have worked with our headings, we have stylized them, created paragraph styles. In the next part, we will dive into the paragraph panel. We will discuss it in more details and refine our text.